President signed the Hemp Farmers Act for their hemp program. It also allows for a hemp research license and interstate commerce. Interstate commerce is a big one. Think of America. Where's the best place in America to grow hemp? I can tell you, California is one place for sure.
Dismayed and shocked.
Human waste problems in San Francisco reaching a disturbing new height.
It is absolutely disgusting.
Pictures show a man relieving himself inside a Safeway.
Power is back on in the Bay Area after PG&E planned a public safety power shutdown that left 738,000 customers in the dark due to high winds in the fork. It has been an unfavorable week for PG&E. While customers in the North Bay are used to these planned shutoffs, cities in the East and South Bay were not. PG&E only giving about a day for hundreds and thousands of households to prepare for living without power for days. From website crashes to...
Of course, the situation to our north in Sonoma County, the Kincaid fire, which erupted over the weekend, now grown to more than 66,000 acres in size, and the containment, sad to say, is actually dropped.
This woman's notoriety from the Netflix show Jailbirds landed her back behind bars. Megan Monster Hawkins was featured on the show, which chronicled her life inside Sacramento County Jail. Elk Grove police say on Friday she tried to open a checking and a savings account at a bank on Bruceville Road using someone else's ID.
Good morning, Becky. And the specs are those that have some analysts saying, look, there's a lot of potential here, but there are still a lot of questions about actually how this vehicle would perform if you had a full payload, if you had a towing capacity, what's the range going to be? When they unveiled this truck last night, I can't be the only person who saw it come on stage and say, wow, that is way outside the box of what people were predicting. They are offering 3 versions of the Cybertruck. The range, depending on whether you have dual motor or the tri-motor, it ranges from 250 miles fully charged up to 500 miles fully charged. Here's Elon Musk on what they were thinking as they designed the Cybertruck.
San Jose restaurant closing leaves Bay Area with 3 Mimi's locations. Here's where to find the French bistro-style favorites and those popular muffins. The Mimi's Bistro and Bakery at El Paseo de Saratoga in San Jose is shut down, leaving the Bay Area with just 3 locations, Gilroy, Fairfield, and Antioch. The restaurant, with the New Orleans-style decor, was known for years as Mimi's Cafe until concept relaunch in 2019. That initiative sought to reestablish the menu's French-inspired menu. The bistro's offerings include croque monsieur, French Creole pasta, French pot roast, salade niçoise, pain perdu with mixed berries, along with other French-style and American comfort food dishes, and the popular carrot raisin nut muffins and other baked goods. Of note, a 3-course Valentine's menu is available for $19.99 on February 14th, 15th, and 16th. Founded in 1978, the chain is owned by the North American subsidiary of a France-based cafe company called Groupe Les Deux. According to the website, there are 77 locations in 16 states. The details. The Bay Area's Mimi's are at 6935 Camino Arroyo in Gilroy, 1650 Gateway Boulevard in Fairfield, and 5705 Lone Tree Way in Antioch. All are open daily at 7 a.m. The Gilroy restaurant serves until 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 10 p.m. Friday through Saturday. The Antioch and Fairfield locations serve until 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 11 p.m. Friday and Saturday. For more info, visit mimiscafe.com. 2 arrested after fleeing Fremont police in stolen vehicle. License plate reader hit leads to hit and run on police. A Hayward man was in jail after his arrest on multiple charges in connection with backing into a police patrol vehicle and fleeing a weekend traffic stop, authorities say. Shortly after 11 p.m. on Sunday, officers received a hit from an automated license plate reader, or an ALPR, at Stevenson Boulevard and Interstate 880 for a 1992 Honda Accord reported stolen out of Hayward, police said on Monday. Officers responded to the nearby Avalon apartment complex to stop the vehicle. Its driver refused to stop, though, and reversed into a patrol vehicle, hitting it and a parked car before driving across a grassy pedestrian area. Officers set up a perimeter and took a passenger, identified as Elizabeth Holmes, 24 of San Leandro, into custody behind one apartment building. The driver, identified as Andre Poole, 40, of Hayward, was arrested at a nearby apartment complex. A vehicle search yielded shaved keys, and a search of Poole found a punched ignition, methamphetamine pipe, and a window punch tool. Poole was booked into Fremont City Jail on suspicion of vehicle theft, possession of stolen property, evading police, possession of drug paraphernalia and burglary tools, and misdemeanor hit and run with property damage, as well as parole and probation violations. He was scheduled to attend an arraignment hearing Monday at Fremont Hall of Justice, according to a county records check. Hudick was arrested on suspicion of obstructing or resisting arrest and was cited and released. Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes' lawyer hints at trial defense in court hearing. Who got harmed isn't relevant. The scheme was the fraud, feds say. A lawyer for Theranos founder Elizabeth Holmes hinted in court Monday at possible defenses against the fraud charges facing her client, after U.S. District Court Judge Edward Davila referred to prosecutors' claim that Theranos' blood testing technology, quote, never worked. Holmes' lawyer, Amy Saharia, responded, "That's not true." Saharia later in the hearing said Holmes' team disputes the prosecution's allegations that some of the defunct firm's blood tests were unreliable. Saharia said there were no problems with them whatsoever. Saharia, during a pretrial hearing in federal court in San Jose, noted that prosecutors have alleged specific incidents of inaccurate Theranos test results in an HIV test and 2 pregnancy tests. Saharia said all tests have error rates. The government should not be permitted to try a case with anecdotes when incorrect blood tests are a fact of life. Even if the prosecution were correct that some patients experienced harm, Saharia said that that would be irrelevant to the case because wire fraud involves the loss of money or property. She acknowledged that patients who paid for their own tests could be considered victims, but those who were covered by insurance suffered no loss of money, property, nor did doctors. Assistant U.S. Attorney John Bostic, arguing for the prosecution, said it didn't matter whether anyone was harmed. What matters here is the defendant's intent, Bostic said. And further, it doesn't matter what ended up actually happening. The scheme was the fraud. Holmes is accused of felony wire fraud in connection with her failed Palo Alto startup, and which she founded as a Stanford University dropout in 2003. The indictment alleges she schemed to defraud doctors and patients, along with investors who put more than $700 million into the firm. During Monday's 2.5-hour hearing, Saharia also pointed out that the indictment claims former CEO Holmes and former Theranos president Sunny Balwani defrauded investors, doctors, and patients through their company. Saharia suggested that even if misleading information about Theranos had been issued, Holmes and Balwani may not be culpable, though the indictment suggests that the statements on the Theranos website and in marketing materials were attributable to its CEO and president. The attorney said Theranos employed hundreds of people. In response, the judge asked, if they don't know what's on their own website, they can't be responsible? Saharia said the alleged misstatements about Theranos' business and blood testing equipment covered a vast swath of the company's operations, and statements about the firm were also made via advertisements, news articles, and company press releases. Saharia said there's a vast number of potential sources of misleading statements. She also took issue with Bostic's claim that knowingly selling inaccurate blood tests for medical care warrants criminal fraud charges. Saharia countered that such actions would be more properly addressed in a civil case over breach of implied warranty. Saharia argued further that the prosecution has not alleged that Holmes and her company had a fiduciary duty to act in the interest of investors, doctors, and patients, so claims that Holmes broke a duty of trust don't hold up. Holmes is set to go to trial in early August. Alameda County Sheriff's Deputy sues Toronto Raptors exec Masai Ujiri over NBA Finals altercation. The Alameda County Sheriff's Deputy, who accused Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri of injuring him in an altercation moments after the team beat the Golden State Warriors for the NBA title, has filed a federal lawsuit against the executive and league. Alan Strickland and his wife, Kelly, sued Ujiri and claimed he hit the deputy in the face and chest with both fists as he tried to rush onto the court to celebrate the series win. Strickland, who is asking for more than $75,000, had been working security for the game and was told to keep individuals without credentials off the court. According to the lawsuit filed Friday, as a result of the subject incident, plaintiff Alan Strickland suffered and will continue to suffer physical, mental, emotional, and economic injuries, including but not limited to lost wages, lost opportunity for financial gain, future earning capacity, and past and future medical care and expenses. Strickland has been on medical leave since the June 13 incident. In October, Alameda County prosecutors decided not to file charges against Ujiri after a meeting with him that focused on matters that we believe merited constructive, structured mediation and conflict resolution and were better handled in a setting outside of the courtroom. Ujiri and the sheriff's office were in agreement with the decision to handle this matter by way of the meeting, said Teresa Drenick, the prosecutor and spokeswoman for the district attorney Nancy O'Malley. The sheriff's deputy reported being pushed and hit in the face by Ujiri, causing a concussion and an injury to his jaw that forced him to miss work, his attorney said at the time. A request for comment Monday was not immediately returned. The incident occurred after Game 6 of the NBA Finals when the Raptors beat the Warriors at... Strickland was assigned to work security at the Southgate Tunnel and claimed he was instructed by NBA security officials to prevent anyone from entering the court who didn't have the proper credentials. Strickland said the NBA stressed the importance of this rule after a recent security breach where an unauthorized individual with fake credentials accessed the court. The deputy alleged Ujiri was wearing a suit and had no credentials and ignored numerous orders to remain off the court before assaulting him. He alleged in the lawsuit the force of Masai Ujiri's attack sent plaintiff Alan Strickland backwards several feet. Strickland, who is suing Ujiri, the NBA, the Raptors organization, and the Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, also alleged that Ujiri had a violent predisposition and propensity for physical violence prior to his assault. He said the executive's past involved similar circumstances and necessitated adequate security, which defendants failed to provide. Strickland did not detail any past incidents involving Ujiri. Sheriff's officials have previously said that Ujiri pushed past the deputy, prompting him to push back. At some point, the deputy told investigators he was struck in the jaw. Ujiri had credentials in his hand, but they weren't the type required to gain access to the court, sheriff's officials say. Oakland police investigated the incident, portions of which were captured on video. The episode prompted accusations on social media that the deputy racially profiled Ujiri, who's Nigerian. A sheriff spokesman denies those allegations. Wild surveillance video shows officers putting an end to a jail riot. Exclusively on KSBW. Sandoval County, New Mexico. A riot inside a New Mexico detention center was captured on video. Members of the Tactical Support Unit were called into the Sandoval County Detention Center in January when corrections officers couldn't get 9 inmates to go back into their cells. A court document says that one by one, each inmate took off their shirt and wrapped it around their face. The guards left the room, never turning their backs on the inmates. The inmates surely knew what was coming. When the specialized team got there, there was a battle at a small opening in the door, which looks like a mail slot. Inmates shoved through blankets and powder, and officers tried to push in the barrel of the gun that fires a flashbang device. Ultimately, a flashbang device was used through the slot, which scattered the inmates and got the riot under control. Salinas youth cheerleaders take home national state championship in back-to-back weekends. The Toro Bulls cheer team out of Salinas is making history. For the first time, the cheer team has won regional, state, and national championships all in the same year. Over the weekend, the team took home gold at the state championship in Bakersfield. They took home first at nationals in Las Vegas 2 weeks ago. Before that, they won regionals in November. California Highway Patrol officer from Fremont charged for unlawful sex with a minor. Police confirmed Monday that a California Highway Patrol officer who lives in Fremont has been charged by the Alameda County District Attorney on several counts related to unlawful sex with a minor. Fremont police arrested 34-year-old Fremont resident Brian Watkins on February 6th on multiple felony counts of sexual assault. Investigation into the case by Fremont police detectives began in July of last year after receiving a report of alleged sexual misconduct involving Watkins and a teenage female. The police learned that the suspect was employed as a CHP patrol officer and had started a sexual relationship with the victim when she was 16 years old. Police determined the activity with the minor is believed to have occurred primarily within the city of Fremont and not while Watkins was working in the capacity of a peace officer. During the investigation, detectives learned the activity with the minor was ongoing, even after Watkins learned he was being investigated. Recent developments in the case gave officers additional evidence needed to arrest Watkins. On February 6, detectives arrested him at approximately 5:45 p.m., and he was booked at the Fremont Police Detention Facility. On Monday, detectives presented the case to the Alameda County District Attorney's Office and the DA, who filed 3 felony counts of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. Watkins was scheduled to be arraigned Monday. Due to the age of the victim and the nature of the investigation, no information regarding the victim's identity is being released. The Fremont Police Department was in contact with the CHP throughout the course of this investigation and received assistance and cooperation on the case from the agency. Fremont detectives are still investigating. Though there has been no evidence of additional victims, police will continue to pursue any leads. Anyone with information they believe could help detectives with the case is asked to contact Senior Detective Tony Holguin at 510-790-6900. Victim shot. Corcoran Police search for suspects. A person was shot in Corcoran Monday, and a suspect is being sought, according to the police. Around 10:50 a.m., Corcoran police officers were dispatched to the 2500 block of Hannah Avenue in regards to a male subject suffering from a gunshot wound. Upon arrival, officers located a subject who had been shot in the torso. Officers provided first aid, and he was later transported to a local hospital for treatment. Police say the man may have fled the area in a gold vehicle, possibly a 2010 Ford Fusion. The police department is asking anyone with information to call 559-992-5151. CHP K-9 finds 85 pounds of meth on Interstate 5. Out of Modesto, a California Highway Patrol K-9 found 85 pounds of methamphetamine on Thursday, according to CHP. While on a traffic stop in the Modesto area on Interstate 5, the CHP said K-9 Paquito found the drugs and alerted his handler. Refer to their Twitter page for the photo. Paquito posed with the drugs he found, and they say, and he is a very good boy. No more carrying coins. New parking pay stations in downtown Fresno. Parking in downtown Fresno is now simpler with the installation of 8 new solar-powered parking stations, meaning cash is no longer needed. Says Thomas Gaffrey, Fresno's parking division manager. These are the first ones you'll be able to use your credit card at the actual machine. The lots have signs in front of the parking spaces to remind drivers to remember their license plate numbers. Then they go to the machine, enter their license plate number, and pick the amount of time they want to pay for. Says Gilroy resident Eden Neba. It's kind of convenient that you can use your credit card. You don't have to go out with a bunch of quarters, but it takes a little bit of getting used to. Neba was visiting City Hall Monday and said it was his first time using the new machine. After a couple of minutes of pressing buttons, he was able to pay. He said it's kind of confusing. It didn't say anything on the machine that you don't need a ticket. Gaffrey said the machine doesn't give receipts. Parking enforcers use a handheld device to check the license plate number to see if people have paid. The new machines mean residents can also keep using coins or the Park Mobile app. However, prepaid meter cards can't be used. According to the City of Fresno, the 8 machines cost $72,660. This is the first week the new machines have been available. City officials plan on rolling them out to other downtown locations in the future. 53rd World Ag Expo opened Tuesday. Out of Tulare. The biggest farming event in the world is here. The 53rd Annual World Ag Expo opened its doors Tuesday, February 11th at the International Agri-Center in Tulare. The event showcases more than 1,450 exhibits from farm equipment to farm chemicals, communications, and technology. World Ag Expo Chairman Jim Parsley has been volunteering with the show for 33 years. He says they love the community. They feel special about this community, and this show is part of it. Visitors are expected from all over the United States and more than 50 countries around the world. 1,400 volunteers help run the event. Parsley said, when these people get here, we want them to enjoy this party. We want them to appreciate being here. For a full schedule of events, more information about the show, or to purchase tickets, go to the World Ag Expo at worldagexpo.com. Joaquin Phoenix slams the dairy industry in his Oscar speech. This farmer says he's misinformed. Out of Fresno, local farmers are calling out the Joker actor Joaquin Phoenix after he attacked the dairy industry during his Academy Awards acceptance speech on Sunday. Phoenix said, "We feel entitled to artificially inseminate a cow, and when she gives birth, we steal her baby, even though her cries of anguish are unmistakable. Then we take her milk that is intended for her calf, and we put it in our coffee and our cereal. California is number one in dairy production, with 1 in 5 dairy cows housed in the Golden State." Organic Pastures owner Mark McAfee said Phoenix is misinformed and disconnected from the truth. McAfee says there really is no place for mistreatment of animals. I know it happens, but I just don't see it myself, and I would discourage that concept of being prevalent in the system. It's not prevalent, it is rare. McAfee said dairy production, especially for the Central Valley, is essential for the economy and for human nutrition. But not everyone sees it that way. Naomi Hendricks, the owner of vegan restaurant Raw Fresno, applauded the actor. Says Hendricks, "I think it is absolutely great because he has a platform. People are waking up and they are realizing it for multiple reasons. It could be for the lifestyle, or it can be for the peace and for the animals." He shot his victim and fled, deputies say. He's now behind bars. Out of Merced, a 25-year-old man was booked into Merced County Jail and as he allegedly got into a fight and shot someone, according to the Merced County Sheriff's Office. Deputies say Gary Gregory fled the scene in Stevenson following the incident on Friday. Detectives received leads that he was in the Bay Area and contacted family members there. The suspect then turned himself in to the local police Saturday night. Gregory was then back to Merced and booked on a charge of attempted murder. The victim remains in a Modesto hospital in critical condition. 2 teams from Shasta Charter Academy win the 2020 NorCal VEX Robotics Tournament. Out of Redding, hundreds of students from Northern California came to Shasta High School to compete in the 2020 VEX Robotics League Championships. Teams from the Fall River all the way to Etna, California came to compete with a chance at qualifying for the state robotics event held in Sacramento next month. These teams have been competing with their self-constructed robots since September and have finally reached the last stretch competing head-to-head at the single elimination event. Each team has been ranked according to their previous scores and were given the opportunity to select another team of their choice depending on their rankings. The Shasta High School robotics program is what it is today because of Brian Grisby, a robotics educator at Shasta High School. Grisby said that this has been a positive experience for him and many kids. He said giving them the encouragement that they need to be able to know that I can do this. This is something I can do. And sometimes it pulls kids out of a world where they don't think that they could compete in or be a part of it to all of a sudden being, this is what I was meant to do. He added, this has been such a great positive experience for a lot of our kids in the area. 21 teams were asked to stack as many cubes into their goalpost for points. After the first stack, they quickly needed to add a second stack to multiply their score depending on the color and amount of the cubes. This year's NorCal VEX winners came from Shasta Charter Academy, and both teams said this experience has been tough but very rewarding. They tell us that they find it fascinating being able to build and program something from scratch. Says Toby Treat, a student from the winning team. It's really cool that you start from scratch. You start with nothing, you build up your robot and what it can do on your code. You drive the robot. Everything is built around you and the stuff you make. It will have an impact. It's really satisfying when it works, and when it doesn't, you know you can improve. Police say a suspect is on the loose after robbing a Mountain Mike's Pizza with a gun and demanding cash. Out of Chico, a suspect is on the loose after robbing a Mountain Mike's Pizza with a gun and demanding cash, police say. The Chico Police Department says it happened on Sunday shortly after 1 p.m. at the Mountain Mike's on 5th Street. Police say a white man walked into the pizza restaurant with a gun and demanded money. The suspect was given an undisclosed amount of cash and ran out of the restaurant. Officers say he was last seen running westbound on West 5th Street. The suspect is described as being approximately 45 years old, wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt and khaki pants. Police say no one was injured during the robbery. Anyone with any information about this incident is encouraged to call 530-897-4900. Family raises money to bury former Marine killed in a deputy-involved shooting. Out of Redding, for the first time since he was shot and killed by deputies last week, the family of Thomas Barbosa is sharing information about him as they try to raise money for his funeral. Thomas Barbosa, 41, of Cottonwood, was killed in a deputy-involved shooting on Tuesday, February 4th. Investigators say Barbosa drove off a cliff near Platina Road in Ono. Officers said he was armed with a knife and refused to comply with their orders. Barbosa's family has started a GoFundMe page with a goal of raising $7,000 for his funeral expenses. Information on their page says, Thomas Barbosa was a beloved husband, father, brother, uncle, son, and more. As you may know, less than a week ago on February 4th, 2020, Tom was taken from us unexpectedly. He served his country and toured Iraq, but he returned with PTSD. We are all confused and hurt. There are many questions we have and many answers we want, but first Tom needs to be at peace. We are trying to raise $7,000 for Tom's casket and burial. His military benefits will cover part of the funeral costs, but not all. Anything helps. We appreciate any and everything that comes our way. According to the Redding Police Department, RPD, Shasta County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to a welfare check near Denise Way in Cottonwood in the early afternoon hours of February the 4th. Barbosa had been the subject of numerous mental health welfare check calls in the past year. Deputies followed Barbosa to an area off Platina Road where they said he sat in the vehicle for about 15 minutes before driving off a cliff. They said as they were trying to render aid after the crash, he refused to obey deputies' commands and was armed with a knife. After negotiating with Barbosa and using less lethal options, deputies said he still refused to drop the knife. A sergeant fired one round, killing Barbosa. Reading Police Department continues to investigate this incident.